Hello, hello, hello. This is Ann Sarah Appear, the visual podcast. And I just wanted to come on here real quick because I wanted to really ask the question because I've been doing reflection and I've been going over some of the things that I have allowed to go on in my past that has accounted for this change in my heart that I had in my present, that I have in my present, that I really am allowing God to correct in me. So my thing is, are you currently taking on the blame for somebody else's actions and responsibility? Like, is somebody else passing the buck on to you? Like, is someone consciously making a decision, someone that you have an energetic tie to, whether that be a friend, a family member, a lover, a coworker, a community of worship, whatever it is, are you taking on emotionally baggage? And are you taking on mentally baggage that has nothing to do with the personal decisions that you've made in your everyday life? If you are, then you are probably like how I was and didn't even know it. You're a scapegoat. You're a pawn in their game. You're taking on responsibility for decisions and for places and things that you don't even know about. You know, sometimes this happens when individuals, they cannot cope with their reputation being tarnished. They cannot cope with how they look on the outside being anything different from the picture that they've wanted to paint. They can't actually cope with they can't cope with the responsibility that they have in their own healing and partnering with God to allow them to do the transformation. I believe everybody can hear from God. I believe anyone can hear from God because God is the one that created us. And so even though you don't follow his voice, you don't follow his commandments, you may be a whole atheist, I still believe that people hear from God. And so that is God's voice that is powerful enough to make someone make the change in decision. Man might say, I realized and came to the point that I had to get clean and I had to stop doing X, Y, and Z in order to get myself together. But I think that it's actually God whispering in man's ear, really whispering to man's soul, telling them that it's time for a change. And it doesn't have to be an addiction. It could be just the pain and bitterness and the anger and resentment that you hold. I came to the end of myself, being completely honest and transparent, and I said I had to let this go. I have to go on. I have to move on with my life. I cannot allow something that was ultimately a distraction to my growth and something that I ultimately used as idolatry. I can't use the trauma of my past to pass on the buck and the blame of why I react certain ways, or why I approach any kind of intimate relationship, with skepticism. It's using the situation as a scapegoat. Even me, I have been a scapegoat in so many scenarios in my life that I picked up the trait of a scapegoat and I started subconsciously acting like the very ones who were victimizing me. I, the victim, started acting like the ones who victimized me because it kept happening over and over and over. And even though the treatment that I endured was wrong, it was still my responsibility to set personal boundaries. It was still my responsibility, even BC, before Christ, before I came into the knowledge of God. It was my responsibility to be able to sit with myself and analyze the situation and not be so frantic or scattered all over the place when it came to my authenticity of what is the end goal in this relationship. The problem was I never was intentional. I allowed relationships to come into my life like stray cats. And you know what? I got pissed on. And with that being said, instead of me filtering out my heart, allowing God to make the change and do the work in me. And the reason why I didn't do that is because I didn't even think I was worthy of his love. But instead of me making the actual conscious decision that I'm going to allow God to change my heart and to give me organic joy so that I don't have to escape the reality of my pain with drugs or with any kind of alcohol or with any kind of illusion of grandeur of a relationship, because I failed to do that, the victim took on the persecutor's mentality, and I became the very thing that was trying to corrupt me in the end. I want you to partner with God and get uncorrupted. Learn from my mistakes and move forward. I don't want you to do like how other people have done you. And I know that sometimes if you see a pattern of it happening over and over again, you need to reevaluate your circle, but also reevaluate your relationship with God. Because if you go looking for yourself, you're going to find more disappointment. But if you look for God, you'll find the truth about who you really are within yourself. You're going to have to get out of these cycles of abuse that you are interpreting as love. And that's the real reason why you're the scapegoat. Bye for now.